This past month has undoubtedly been one of the most difficult months that we've ever had to deal with here at the sanctuary. Our entire world has completely changed in the blink of an eye, and we became faced with the incredible challenge of having to move our entire sanctuary and every single one of the animals and all of their houses and playgrounds and equipment to a new location without having any time to get to plan for it. And on top of this massive life-changing situation that has been forced upon us, I personally have just been feeling like I'm completely failing, and I want to take a minute to apologize because I have been so busy and overwhelmed that I haven't even had the time to respond back to any messages, much less post an update video or, multiple videos to try to keep fundraising for everything. But instead of getting to focus on that, we've been spending every waking moment for the past month completely consumed with just anxiety and stress while we've had to deal with what feels like endless meetings and phone calls and emails with county officials and going back and forth with realtors and zoning and permitting departments and animal control inspections and lawyers, and even having to deal with calling the police in the middle of the night. I mean, just being surrounded by people that are doing everything in your power to make your life miserable to get you to leave is really incredibly draining, and I can't even put it into words. And on top of all of it, we also have to focus on all of the pieces that we need to put together in order to prep for this massive move, taking the time to search out trucks and trailers and heavy machinery and everything else that comes with it to make sure that everything will be in place for us when the moment comes for us to make the transition to the new property. And of course, not to mention that on top of everything else that we're dealing with, we still have the daily care of all of the animals that we have to focus on. That's our number one, but also our own full-time businesses to be able to pay our own personal bills, because I don't take a salary from the sanctuary or from the nonprofit. So in order to pay for my own personal bills, I still need to work at our own businesses.
So I mean, there is so many moving parts right now that it feels impossible to keep up with everything. So I just wanted to let you all know that we're still here. We're still trying our best, and we're still trying to figure everything out and get through this transition period as quickly as we possibly can. Unfortunately, we can't continue to stay at this property, and we have to move no matter what. The county has recognized that it would be impossible for us to move our entire organization in just 30 days. So they've given us a 4-month extension as long as we can show that we're actively trying to move to a new property. So September 1st is going to be our goal date to be completely moved out and onto our new property.
We need your help so that we can move our sanctuary to its new forever home. We are trying to raise $2 million, and trust me when I say that we recognize that our goal of $2 million seems absolutely insane, but the reality is that unfortunately where we live and pricing for property in general right now is at an all-time high, and $2 million doesn't even get you that much. The property that we talked about purchasing on Sanctuary Road is $1.35 million, and it's literally just 20 acres of empty land. No house, no buildings, nothing. We're also selling our own home to go towards this new property too, which means that if we were to move to Sanctuary Road, we would be willing to give up our own 3-bedroom home with a pool to potentially live in an RV or a mobile home just so that we can keep all of the animals together and so that we can have the space to continue doing more for animals in need.
So not only is land expensive, 20 acres or more is really hard to find here in Naples.
And aside from the $1.3 million that it would cost to purchase the 20 acres of empty land on Sanctuary Road, we were asking for an additional $700,000 because we still need to be able to have enough money designated to be able to cover the cost of insurances and permits, trucks, trailers, heavy machinery, and all of the other things that we would need just to transport all of the animals and all of their housing to the new location. But then once we get there, we would also need new fencing to protect our animals from predators because we're in Panther County, and we would need to be able to build immediately to replace the barns and buildings that we have to leave behind due to them being too large or the permanent structures that we can't take with us. So what it comes down to is we need to fundraise $2 million just to allow us to be able to purchase the 20 acres and move all of the animals over there and get them situated. Alternatively, our plan B is that we would just have to relocate further north to another area entirely because property is just much cheaper the further north that you go. We started looking at properties near the Florida-Georgia border that are 60 acres with houses and buildings already set up on it, and they cost $1 million. So 60 acres with buildings and everything set up versus what we can get 20 acres of empty land for here, we just recognize what a huge need that there is for an animal sanctuary and for what we're doing here in Collier County. So we really wanted to try to stay in our hometown, and so that we can continue to provide that service to our community. But in the end, no matter where we go, we know that we'll need at least $1 million for the land and to be able to move this entire operation to any location that we go to. So that is why we think that we should change our fundraising goal from 2 million down to 1 million, because at 1 million we may not be able to stay in our hometown, but with that we can at least save the animals, and that's all that matters at this point. And I think it might be a little bit more reachable in this moment. Ultimately, what it comes down to is we need to do what's best for the animals currently in our care and keep our vision for the future of our sanctuary at the front of our minds. We know that everything will happen the way that it's supposed to, and with your support, we know that we'll be able to raise enough money to secure a new forever home for our entire sanctuary, no matter where that may be. So if you saw in our last video, we are doing a $1 challenge, because if every single one of our followers and supporters gave only $1 to support our mission, we would have well over what we need to be able to save our sanctuary.
Also, I'm super excited to announce that after months in the works, it came through at just the right time that we have now 24/7 live streaming cameras set up for you to view for just a $1 subscription.
So for $1 donation a month subscription, you will now have access to 2 live streaming cameras that are mobile, that will show different locations throughout the sanctuary, so you can watch the animals live 24/7.
Or me.
And you're also going to be able to watch our entire moving process live. So my hope is that by giving you guys 24/7 access into our world in exchange for your donation, you will be able to see how much we truly appreciate you, and that we truly couldn't do any of this without you. So please go to our website and join our $1 challenge to help support our move, so that we can continue our mission of rescuing animals in need.